This is your BOMM Wednesday service. I am Naima Cochrane, your senior pastor, also known as the senior pastor of music sermon. And with me, as always, is my director of HEPS ministry, not helps, but HEPS, Mr. Carron J. Phillips. Hi, Carron.
It's popping.
I see you with your, now this shirt is not just, is it just Jodeci or is it Jodeci plus some other people?
Jodeci plus me. I'm the
right.
fifth member.
I knew there was something about it.
Jodeci.
I knew there was something about it. I couldn't remember what. Okay.
Yeah.
Where do you come in relation to Dalvin on the shirt?
I'm at the bottom, but that's not my position in the power ranking of the group.
Where would your position be in the actual power ranking of the group?
It goes Keyshia, Devontae, me, JoJo, Dalvin.
You come before Dalvin.
Yeah. Dalvin's at the end.
Dalvin's at the end.
Yeah.
That's such a man's point of view. There's no woman that would say Dalvin is at the end of the Jodeci power ranking.
I'm just telling you how it goes. You gotta understand. You have the face and the voice, which is Keyshia. You have the production and the writing, which is Devontae, and the person that put the battery in both of their backs,
which is you,
which is me. Then you have JoJo, who is the second lead singer. And this is no diss to Dalvin. Like, we're all cool with this. We know this. Like, we laugh and joke about this amongst ourselves all the time. But like, I'm the guy in the background, but I am one of the most important pieces of arguably. Not arguably, but one of the top 3 greatest R&B groups of all time. So
that's good to know. This is like a VH1 behind the music on the love.
Yeah, I know you do your music sermons and you put people on game, but there are some secrets that you don't know. So.
Right. So you know what? Before you just provided us a good segue into one of the things we said we were going to talk about. We're going to switch orders a little bit. Before we do, I just want to remind everybody: if you are listening to this podcast, you are doing yourself a disservice because you could be watching the podcast right now so that you could see the shirt that we're talking about that Carron has on. Carron always gives us a look. I do not put forth nearly as much effort. Matter of fact, y'all almost got my ass laying on this couch talking to y'all from the side.
I'm wearing my new edition shirt next week.
Oh, you know what? I'll wear mine too. We'll be in unity. We'll rep for the Any crew. But yeah, you can go to Count the Dings on YouTube and see all of the shows on the Count the Dings feed, including the ones on the BOMM feed, including Crazy Sexy Cool, the OG show, which is the BOMM podcast, our show, Woke Bros, and Growing Up the Same. So again, if you are listening to this, turn it off, go to YouTube, find Count the Dings, watch it. Okay, having said that, now that Carron has revealed to us an R&B secret that we had no idea about, we had a couple of nostalgic R&B and hip hop moments this past weekend, actually, I should say, starting with the Keyshia Cole Ashanti versus rematch, redo, remake, makeup, rain date, whatever the fuck you want to call it, after Ashanti had COVID last time. They were supposed to do it over Christmas break. Carron, did you watch?
No.
Why not?
No, listen, they rescheduled.
I forgot that shit too.
Done this thing so many times. I forgot until I randomly checked Twitter and saw people tweeting. And I was like, oh, that's still happening? Oh, that's right now? Then I was like, should I cut it on YouTube? And I was like, no, what's for? And it's not because originally when it was scheduled, I was planning to watch it. But after all these hoops, I was just like, for Keyshia Cole, I'm not doing all of this for Keyshia Cole. I'm not. Like, what has Keyshia Cole ever done for me to respect all this? In my mind, Keyshia Cole is still the woman who broke Jeezy's heart. And I still haven't forgiven her about that.
Oh, I'm sure Jeezy's fine. He's with that. He's with that
not.
White woman.
Look where he's at right now. He's not fine. He's not fine.
He's with that spicy white woman. I mean,
who ain't white?
Who ain't white?
You Sean King her?
No,
you Sean King
I'm not. She's not white. You're right. She's not white, but she's not black. But she's not white.
I wasn't. Listen, and I love Ashanti. I like movies. I love movies.
Mm.
I just wasn't going to do it because I saw the recap when they put up how many people were watching, and I was like, "That's it." Because I was like, "That's a huge drop off."
Well, Swiss said they broke records. I'm still trying to figure out what numbers.
Lying.
I'm trying to figure out what numbers Swiss was referencing.
Was lying to us.
Because first of all, like you said, few people remembered. I didn't see that much convo about it on the TL. I mean, people were talking about it, but it wasn't like,
I wasn't seeing
you know
no
what I'm
hashtag.
saying? And so I tuned in. Late. They were late. I think one of them, Keyshia or Ashanti, was late, like 20, 30 minutes late.
An hour late, I heard.
Or something like, something crazy. So I tuned in late, and I had it playing in the living room. I was doing something in the bedroom, and the sound was a hot ass mess. They went back to doing
stay in your own house.
Virtual, stay in your house. Even though they tried to like set it up nice. But the sound was a hot ass mess. Keyshia's DJ was a hot ass mess. And
yeah, Keyshia Cole.
Yeah, Keyshia's DJ was a hot mess. Ashanti kept talking about turn my music up, turn it down, slow it down, speed it up. Keyshia shit sounded like they were playing it off like a kid's boombox somewhere. Not distorted, just levels were off. And they took a break at one point. Keyshia's DJ kicked off the break playing I'm Fucking You Tonight. And I was like, you had R. Kelly queued up, ready to go?
You must be used to me spending?
All that sweet whining and dining. Let's stop the bullshit, baby. Let me take you to the spot. Make you hot.
Get you hot.
So you want to be with me, B.I.G., Puff Daddy? Bring that ass to me. This is what you got queued up in January of 2021.
Make the sex
when we just put a new president in office after 4 years of bullshit. My nigga, you had that queued up. Like, this'll fuck him up. Bam. I was like, wow.
Yeah, however, can we detour right quick?
I was like, wow.
When we talk about the artists that we can't talk about anymore or play anymore, that is the one song I like to always bring up and be like, hey, I understand it. I'm with y'all, but I think as grown adults in our own homes where we pay our own bills, I believe you have the right to play and listen to whatever you feel like. Let me finish.
Okay.
In the confines of your own home. But in public settings, I understand not playing it. But in public settings, that is the one song that I'm like, play that shit anywhere in a group of Black people. And I guarantee you 88.9% of them will catch a bop before 15 seconds in. They'd be like, wait, hold up. I ain't supposed to be
there were definitely mad people who were like, oh shit, I forgot this was R. Kelly. It was like, I forgot this was R. Kelly and Big. And the thing about it, but what it reminded me though, Carron, like that used to be my shit, but it reminded me that I can't even enjoy.
It's still
no, but it reminded me like the lyrics ain't feel right. I was uncomfortable with the lyrics, like because the lyrics are very
all that sweet whining.
You know, mine's telling me no, but I mean, okay, anyway. Bring that ass to me. Okay, never mind. So anyway, but there was a lot happening with Keyshia and Ashanti. But here's the thing about that. I know people were excited about the eras and the music. Both them broads are boring. Like unless, like Keyshia's interesting if there's a fight about the pop off somewhere. Ashanti is just boring in general. Like she smiles, is cute, whatever. But like, I knew there was gonna be no.
You're not gonna call a woman that fine cute. Okay, she's fine.
She's fine, but I mean the little smiling and the cutesy little shit. Like she plays cute. She's not. Look, it was boring. It was boring.
But listen, okay. Here's the question I have. From that whack ass Verzuz to this whack thing they're doing with the NFL for Super Bowl, which is the dumbest idea I've seen in a long time. Am I wrong for feeling like Verzuz is dead?
So here's the thing, right? I think that Verzuz maybe peaked and they're not really sure what to do to grow it. But when I did the story on Verzuz last year, Swizz, they had ideas that I haven't seen them execute yet for whatever reason. I'm not sure what that reasoning is. I do think that Verzuz has reached a point now where they want to make a little revenue off of it because people who are part of it probably want some artist costs and stuff like that, which means they have to change some direction in decision making. But the other thing about Verzuz is that it's never going to have the same energy it did in the beginning. Because one of the reasons Verzuz was such a draw is because we had no sports. We had no other live entertainment. Like everybody hadn't pivoted to digital yet during this shutdown. So it was like something that nobody else could offer. something like no other medium, and it gave us so many outlets. It gave us our live entertainment outlet. It gave us our let's talk shit about competition outlet. We need to score something outlet. You know what I'm saying? Like it gave us all of that. And now
it always had an expiration date on it.
Yeah, because now our entertainment is more or less back to normal, except you just can't go to shit live, right?
And
everybody's
we're
adjusted.
tired of being on Zooms.
We're very tired of Zoom.
I'm tired of watching.
We're tired of Zoom.
Canned entertainment.
We're tired of the Zoom, and the boom.
Yeah. There's no live entertainment. Like I missed the BET Awards so much. I missed them so much.
I do miss live shows. I would have seen so many live concerts by now. But I say all that to say, I'm not going to count Verzuz out just yet. Because
unless they do this 3-6, if they do this 3-6 Mafia UGK thing,
I'm with that.
Okay,
Bun said he's with it. Bun said he's 100% with it. So, like, Bun told me myself personally that he's with it. So, like, we just gotta make that shit happen.
Wait, stop. This is one of those moments where you do that thing again.
Right. Okay.
You know.
So I have another podcast other than this podcast.
No.
This is part of the story. My co-host on my other podcast knows Bun. He was UGK's A&R.
Asking about you know Bun.
Me and Bun know each other like casually. I can't but I don't have Bun's phone number. I can't like text Bun. But
Bun sing you out, would he be like, "What up?"
Yes.
What is Bun's real name? Because to me, he's always been Bun.
I don't remember Bun's real name, actually. I don't think anybody calls him by his real name. Like, obviously, Pimp C is Chad.
No.
I actually don't know what Bun's real name is.
Every rapper ever I have heard or know their real names. I have never heard anything of a government name associated with Bun B.
I've never heard, like, people call Pimp C Chad all the time. I never heard anybody call Bun anything but Bun.
I don't.
People call E40 by their real name. Everybody calls Short Todd. I don't know Bun B's real name. Exactly. Wait, let's look that up. His name is Bernard. That's why. Because they're gonna call him B. Like nobody calls a Bernard a Bernard. Everybody calls a Bernard a Nard.
I have an uncle named Bernard. We called him Jack. I didn't know his name was Bernard until a couple years ago.
Is his middle name James or something? No? Okay, you don't know.
Like shit.
Black people just be making up with nicknames they got shit to do. They got shit to do with your given name.
This is what people do in Newport, Mississippi. I don't know. I don't know.
Jack. Anyway, so Bun said that he's with it, and he said that he's actually told Juicy and them that he's with it. He's let Swizz and them know he's with it. And after the E42, which by the way, E42 show I thought was a genius idea. That was a genius Verzuz.
Didn't watch it, but I knew that was a neat thing.
That was a genius Verzuz for me. That if they can keep doing that kind of content, and I mean, listen, there were people out there who needed Ashanti and Keyshia. I'm not going to knock it. I'm just saying that one of the things they have to consider is the entertainment value outside of the music, and I knew they weren't going to have chemistry.
And Bun B and 3-6.
That would be amazing. First of all, Jordan, Juicy J, is he is one of the most entertaining characters I know. Because I was Juicy J's product manager for the Stay Trippy album. He is fucking hilarious. Like, he's actually hilarious. So
and I think this is a moment where we could get like a 3-6 reunion
of sorts.
And this is the part of the show where I want to remind people that Mr. Don't Play is one of the greatest albums in rap history. Not just rap, in music history. Mr. Don't Play by Project Pat is top 10.
Well, then that's the question, because like it's like, do you make it like a 3-6 and Project Pat? Like, do you make it Juicy J and Paul and Crunchy Black and Pat? Pat needs his own situation.
I want LeChat. I want Gangsta Boo. I want Crunchy Black.
That's a lot of people on the Verzuz.
I want everybody. Okay, if they got to bring some RIP shirts, I want everybody. But you give Project Pat its own run, and I would say pull off the best songs off Mr. Don't Play, but it's impossible because it's just 18 tracks of this is amazing. This is amazing.
I
this is
mean, it's
amazing.
really all a DJ Paul versus, if we want to keep it a buck ish. Well, no, because Juicy was producing too. I'll take that back. Okay, anyway, we'll see if that happens. Hopefully, that will happen. The other pop culture moment that happened this weekend was the Salt and Pepper biopic on Lifetime, which was produced. You know, Lifetime is getting into the Black content business. It was produced by Queen Latifah and Shakim Camperos, produced by Flavor Union Entertainment.
Can we say something?
Wait. With Cheryl and Sandy consulting, Salt and Pepper themselves consulting on the story and the production, and Mario Van Peebles directing. So very Black in its production. Didn't curl all the way over for me.
I didn't see one curl. Not just all the way over. I didn't see coil.
You didn't see not and coil?
Here's the problem.
Not near curl?
We could spend this whole show talking about how Lifetime ain't shit for how they do Black people movies.
But this is not a laugh type problem. That's why I wanted to name all the people who were involved.
But I appreciate Lifetime for giving us these Black movies that we would never have. So it's a love-hate relationship.
Right.
The beef I have is with Salt and Pepper. And this ain't even about the Spinderella part or the fact that they had Herbie playing himself and his brother for no reason or all the other issues in this movie. My issue with Salt and Pepper is that look me in the eyes, ladies, because I hope y'all wait one day click on this. If Martin Lawrence is your friend, what did y'all do him though? Why?
Martin Lawrence casting.
Why did you go get a 48-year-old fat actor?
Because Martin was skinny as shit when he was like 18, 19 years old. That Martin Lawrence casting was horrific.
He was so fat and so old.
That Martin Lawrence casting was horrific.
Oh my
God.
God.
If y'all want to know what we mean, go back and watch House Party. Do the Right Thing or House Party. Or House Party.
It was before House Party.
I know, but you can even go to House Party. You can even go to House Party too. You can go to any of them.
You could go to the sitcom he had before Do the Right Thing.
You could go to the first season of Def Comedy Jam. You could do anything from the span of 1989 to 1992 and look at Martin there. Even if you go to Martin didn't get fat until he started. You go to the first Bad Boys.
Marcus Burnett was skinny in 95.
Like, you could go to the Bad Boys when Martin had top billing over Will Smith. You could go to that. You could go to that one, right? Like, Martin just started looking like that in the last decade. Like, real talk. That was awful. That was really cruel, and it also makes me wonder if Martin did something to piss him.
You could go to Run Tell That in 2003 after he had all the issues with the drugs.
I mean, yeah, that was Martin today. That was not Martin back then. And so but it is true, like Martin and Player cousins. So like they was just all putting each other onto the jobs. I will say that I thought the two women who played Salt and Pepper, this is my problem with biopics often. They get the detail of the early days really strong and solid. And as we come forward, shit gets rushed, timelines get blurred. The looks be off. And I don't know if it's like the nostalgia factor where they're so focused early on and then they just let it go. I'm not sure what that is. But the two young women, I thought they embodied the essence of early Salt and Pepper really well. But the other thing is that the problem with that biopic just being like one night and 3 hours is that it like touched on every issue. It touched on her being Salt, and it touched on her being controlling, and it touched on Spin not being a cohesive part of everything, and it touched on them not getting the right money and points and everything, and it touched on Salt getting saved, and it touched on Pepper and Tretch, but it didn't deep dive into any one thing. So it was just like, it's like skipping a rock over water. You didn't really get the in-depth. It was like Cliff's Notes. You know what I'm saying? They could have at least taken
like
2 days.
The whole scene at the Essence performance. I was like, why is this even in here? Why? Like, this is a throwaway.
Right.
Here
it wasn't there wasn't any intricate point to the overall storytelling, unless it was to try to prove that Harvey was wrong about none of your business, or unless it was just because y'all wanted to put a Susan Taylor in there to set the time, which I think that's really what it was. It's like it served no point. And even bringing it up to modern day, when they're like, we haven't talked to each other in however long, and we're gonna perform together. Y'all ain't see each other in rehearsals. Y'all just showed up.
Went under the whole.
Y'all just showed up on stage. Y'all ain't rehearsed together. Y'all ain't talk about the show.
This was the funniest part to me. I remember that VH1 Honors.
Yeah.
They didn't get to do 3 songs at the VH1 Honors. In the movie, they did a whole damn concert.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not what happened. You can YouTube the VH1 Honors.
They did do a medley of sorts, though.
It wasn't that.
They definitely were dressed like that.
Because they did What a Man, because they did What a Man with Involve.
You know what I think? I think that the tribute, I think that instead of showing the tribute performances people did for them, they made it as though Salt N Pepa did all the performances themselves. Because they did have some tribute performances done for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is this? Because I don't remember y'all being. Then I was like, let me YouTube this and make sure I'm not tripping.
Right.
Yeah, y'all ain't do like 5 songs. Mm-mm.
I mean, my thing is, Salt N Pepa is a story that deserves to be told. I still don't think they really got into the groundbreaking aspect of the group, right? Like, again, touched on the fact that Russell said they wouldn't last, touched on the fact that people were trying to play them for crossing over. Like, they touched on the fact that they started producing and writing on the final album, but they didn't really drive any of it home. And Salt N Pepa deserved that. So I'm hoping that when La gets to hers, because I have to imagine it's only a matter of time before we get to a Latifah joint, or a Light joint, or a Latifah and Light jointly, like, we actually dive a little deeper. And I mean, here's the thing. Flavor Unit, I love La. I love that she has a production company. I love that she is a mogul. I love that she is a storyteller. This is kind of what I expect from a Flavor Unit production. I'm sorry. I love Queen Latifah with all my heart and soul. But if we look at the track record, the Still Magnolias remake, there's
a female rapper biopic that I need. And you know who it is for one simple reason?
Who?
I need the Inga Martin story.
Okay. You just want to see her throwing shit at people?
Is that everybody forgets when Foxy first came out, she was 15.
Yes.
And she looked like she was 25.
Yes.
And all of us who were the same age were like, who is that? And then we found out was like, wait, like, she a year older than us? Mm-hmm. That's a grown woman. And we had never seen anything like that. And it was just like,
Kim was only like 17. Everybody was a baby. So yeah, shout out to Salt N Pepa. Spin, listen, sis, I know y'all been going through this for quite some time.
That was foul.
She was not essential to the group. It was not Salt N Pepa and Cinderella. She wasn't even rapping on the first 2 albums. She wasn't even on the first album at all. Like, I'm just saying. They
gave her character one line in a 3-hour movie.
Which was analogous to how they played her in real life, actually, in fairness. Which is why I'm just saying. She
produced beats. She has production.
No, Harvey produced them beats. Spin wrote on one song on one album. Those were Harvey. Spin didn't even spin. She was a character. She was work for hire. I'm just saying, she was gorgeous. She added to the aesthetic. Great gowns, beautiful gowns. She added to the look.
The beautiful gowns.
She added to the look. Like, Spin is essential to the look of Salt N Pepa. And I know people are gonna be mad at me for saying this. Just hear me out.
No, she's the finest member.
I'm saying this as a real-time grew up with Salt N Pepa fan.
Yeah, she's the finest member.
Spin was essential to the aesthetic of Salt N Pepa. She was not essential to the energy of Salt N Pepa. Nobody was buying a Salt N Pepa album for Spinderella.
Correct.
It was essential that as the first female rap group, they had a female DJ. But Spin did not spin. And had they replaced Spinderella with yet another Spinderella, it would not have made a difference. That's all I'm saying.
And she was the finest member.
She was fine. But listen, Salt
Until
had her moments, though. Salt had her moments.
Until Salt showed up in the shoot video.
Because I always felt like Salt was the flyest.
Hold on.
I always felt like Finn was gorgeous, but Salt was the flyest. To me, I always thought she was the flyest. Even in the early days, I thought she was the flyest. So it's like, I get it. But even when like Spin started rapping with them, Salt N Pepa's first 2 albums, they were spitting fire. Like, they had flow, they had bars, and granted it was Herbie's pen, but still, like, Spin didn't even really have the same delivery. So I get it. Like, she feels like she should be considered part of the group. But, like, you weren't really part of the group. You were an ancillary. You were like, it was like being a sweetheart. Like, it was like that. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Carron left, y'all. Sorry. Okay, you came back. It was.
I'm not.
All right, let's move on because
I don't want to be here anymore.
We'll move on.
I quit the podcast.
We'll move
on. I'm not doing it.
We'll move on. So last week, I put Carron in the comfortable position. We'll move on. So last week, we were taping on the night before our inauguration and sending our prayers out that all would go well. Thankfully, all did.
I hope every sweetheart in New York jams you up.
I mean, it's not like there's a lot of left anymore. It's not. They don't really. They don't exist really like that. No offense to the sweethearts, though, but I'm just saying they're not.
I don't want to be here anymore.
Auxiliary organizations don't really. Okay. Anyway, so the inauguration, right? So we won't spend too much time on it because it has been a week ago, so it's almost old news. I just want to remark that it was a beautiful day to me, and it set. You could tell they consciously wanted to make sure they set a tone that there was a change of the guard. Would you agree? Like, Carron, stay with me. Would you agree?
I can't. Listen, man. That was one of the greatest mean girl moves I've ever seen anybody
I wasn't
do.
trying to be mean. I'm just saying.
Why your voice getting so high?
I wasn't trying to be mean. I promise I wasn't. But this was not. Don't listen to Carron. I'm not a mean girl. I'm not. I'm very kind. I am.
Look, it was. Look, inauguration. The Bernie meme was hilarious. Michelle was wonderful.
The Bernie memes were hilarious until they put Bernie next to Rosa Parks, and then it was a wrap, and everybody needed to pack it up and
was
go
done
home.
as usual. The finesse Mitchell clip that you posted had me in tears.
That was the funniest shit. Okay, so everybody, please go on Instagram and find Finesse Mitchell. He did a voiceover of some like kind of like, I don't even want to call it BTS, but like clips of people like talking to each other and milling about out after the formal ceremony. And it is the funniest thing. I watched that thing so many times. She was like, "You see Gaga Bird?" She's like, "You got a whole ass bird on you. That is crazy. Is it dead?"
And the hills over. You seen Bill?
Bill, anybody seen Bill? No, when she was like, "Don't tell me to I used to run this bitch. Don't tell me to shit." Who said something about your goddamn email? It is the funniest because he does Hillary, Obama, Gaga, Bill, J-Lo, A-Rod, Nancy, and a couple of other like side people. But even when like there's a point where Bill Clinton is like dapping everybody up as he's leaving the dais, and he's like, "Sup, what's up, what's up? Y'all miss me, don't you? I used to have this bitch lit."
Yeah, that was the best thing of inauguration day. That was that. It was that 2-minute video.
It was so good. It was so good. But like, I do want to remark that one of the things I really appreciate about Inauguration Day is that the fact that they couldn't do all the pomp and circumstance that they usually do meant that the Biden administration got to work midday. Kamala had to go to the Senate to swear in Ossoff and Warnock, and there was a third senator. I can't remember who. And
was it the independent one?
Maybe.
I think
possibly. Biden went to his office to sign the first of 17 immediate executive orders.
Bruh, they was working on their day off.
We had our first press briefing.
Oh, Jesus.
That started with the declaration that the goal was to bring back transparency and truth. And everybody on every newscast was like, I forgot how these motherfuckers are supposed to run. Like, simple things were startling. Biden addressed white supremacy in his inaugural speech. He addressed the insurrection in his inaugural speech. He didn't put flowery language on it. He didn't use code words on it. Like, he spoke very directly and succinctly about where we were, what we needed to work to move from. And then when he swore in his appointees later on that day, he spoke at length about George Floyd. He spoke about the fact that decency had been missing from the White House for 4 years. And he said that if he found out any of his staff were mistreating anyone else, they would be fired on the spot. He made that very clear. So we already know that they have one of the most stressful transition periods probably in modern history. They've clearly hit the ground running. But like I said, I'm appreciative of it. And of the immediate, like, this shit gonna feel different. Like, we gonna do everything different. Even the press secretary, wasn't it? Is it Jen? I
forgot, the white lady.
I don't want to say her name wrong. This was just awful. Lady. The new press secretary. I want to say her first name is Jen, but I want to get her last name right. But she has
gave a whole speech.
There's a silent letter at the beginning of her name, which is why. But it's just, again, just seeing, she even answered questions from citizens on the White House account the other day, but no snark, no condescension. Also, very, 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 very important, the first dogs are now in residence. Champ and Major Biden, German Shepherds, both, showed up, got moved to the house on Sunday. It is the first time we have had pets in office since the Obama administration. Trump was one of only 2 presidents ever, I think, that did not have a pet. And there's about to be a first cat as well very soon. So yeah, it's just little things that you realize that you miss. Like, I realized during the outstanding inaugural poem, shout out to Amanda Gordon, by the way, that art and culture was coming back to the White House, right? Mm-hmm. It was a multicultural inauguration in terms of the people who were represented, the faces that were represented.
J-Lo was speaking Spanish.
J-Lo was speaking Spanish, and J-Lo got a little bit carried away. She forgot where she was for a minute. But that's okay.
Hey, I would have got caught up in the roster too if I was out there.
When she got to the Let's Get Loud, I was like, my good sis, Jennifer.
Hey, if it was me, I would have threw in a nigga we made it myself. So I'm not mad at her.
So yeah, it was a good day. And I, as we knew, today was the 4th full business day of the Biden administration, and niggas already got shit to say. Biden said he was gonna do XYZ on day 1. And I'm like, do y'all really not understand? Like, do y'all really not understand how Congress works? Do you really not understand that?
That man ain't got his work badge, his work ID yet.
Like, he don't even have an extension on his phone. You know what I'm saying? Like, his email ain't even, like, do y'all not understand that?
His Peloton ain't even hooked up yet.
Biden said that he was going to execute the new stimulus plan immediately. I get that, right? But immediately means as soon as Congress can draft the plan and pass the plan, right? So, like, if you tell your mama, your boss, your somebody, I'm going to do something immediately, it means I'm going to start work on it immediately. It doesn't mean I'm going to complete it immediately. It means I'm going to complete it as soon as I can.
But dumbasses don't know how the three branches of government work. So,
they don't. And I was having conversations about that this morning on Twitter. And people were really arguing with me about the functions of Congress versus the functions of the executive office.
You was arguing with the people I tell you to block all the
I know.
time.
I thought about you too, because I was like, Carron would have been like, you should have blocked these motherfuckers. Congress is literally the legislative branch. So even though Biden presented a plan, right, on January 15th, let me back up. Because people were also like, Congress should have been working on this. The last stimulus plan was signed by Trump on December 27th. The first of 2020, that wasn't even a month ago. That was a month ago yesterday. A month ago tomorrow. The first session of Congress for 2021, the first joint session, was January 6th. Mitch McConnell then adjourned the Senate until January 19th. Biden introduced his framework for a plan on January 15th. When was Congress supposed to work on it? At what point? Also, the president, and then people were like, well, he could sign an executive order. The president can only sign executive orders pertaining to laws that are already on the books. The president cannot sign an executive order to do something that there is not already a bill or law established for. Nor can he sign an executive order about spending. Nor can he do that. And we just got a Treasury Secretary last night.
People are stupid, and they think the president could just write us some shit on Microsoft Word, print it off, and sign it.
And
that's what they think.
And Trump helped to promote that idea. But what people need to...
Because he doesn't understand how the...
Well, because he doesn't understand how the presidency works. But also, two things people need to understand. Most of what Trump was signing executive orders for was undoing some shit that was already done, A. And B, half the executive orders that he signed were for pageantry only. Them shits didn't actually mean nothing, do nothing. Because he doesn't read anything. He just wanted to sign shit.
It was like when he took that picture with all the HBCU presidents, remember? Because HBCU was supposed to get all that money.
It was performative.
What happened?
It was like when he took a picture in front of the church holding the Bible upside down. Like, it's the same. Like, Trump was just doing shit to do it. Biden has signed quite a few executive orders to undo things that Trump did, redo stuff that Trump undid.
Like we getting Harriet back on the 20s.
Bringing that conversation back, stopping construction on the wall, halting immigration, all immigration action immediately, strengthening DACA.
Everybody forgot them kids still in cages, y'all.
Today they're working on actually reuniting families, but he signed, I think, like 6 executive orders on immigration reform already. But we just got a Secretary of State today. Today's Tuesday. We just got a Secretary of State confirmed yesterday, Monday. We just got a Secretary of Defense last week, and we just got what was the other thing we got? The first woman in the role.
I forgot.
It'll come back to me. Anyway, because since Mitch McConnell adjourned Senate, they didn't confirm any of his cabinet nominations, which usually happens before inauguration. So
Mitch McConnell isn't used to being around with a full cabinet, so he don't
know how that works, right?
Let's go down.
So anyway, I say all that to say, the probation period for a presidency is usually the first 100 days. It'd be nice if motherfuckers let these people rock for the first 100 days to see what they were going to do.
Give them an extra 100, given all the shit.
They're not going to do that. Nobody's going to do that. But I'm like, day 4? Like, y'all niggas got shit to say day 4? Really? They have shit to say day 2. They have shit to say day 1. They have shit to say day -15. Like, I just don't understand what the expectation is.
You know who those people are?
What people?
Those people that complaining on day 4 are the same people who on day 4 still ain't brought their driver's license and social security card to HR so that they can get their direct deposit paperwork in.
But then they complain about their check not coming.
Always be a paper check,
and then they be mad that they ain't got their check. The other thing,
I go to the bank and deposit this. Yes, fool, because on day 4 you still didn't have your paperwork.
The other thing I want to bring up, we brought up the Bernie memes, and I'm just gonna say this really quickly and move on, because now all of a sudden it's like people like posting the picture of him getting arrested, protesters like, this should be what's going viral. Okay, listen. We understand that Bernard Sanders, at 21 years old, at the University of Chicago, which is one of the top liberal arts schools in the country, was a student activist and involved in sit-ins and protests and got arrested a couple times, right? So did a gang of other white college students in the 60s. Like, y'all, you have your hand up?
Yep.
Okay, go.
There's also another white man who went to a very good liberal arts college who ran for Student Government Association, who was president of the Student Government Association, and considered himself an activist. His name is Sean King. I just wanted to put that out there to compare and contrast that just because you're a white man and you do these things, it don't mean that you ain't shit.
But a lot of people still think that Sean King is whatever. So, okay, so I'm gonna put it like this. Y'all saw all them white people that were out there. And listen, white people, if you're an ally, like, I appreciate it, right? So don't take this the wrong way. But y'all saw how many...
I thought you were about to say all allies matter.
No, but y'all saw how many white people were down for the cause, out in the streets, marching, participating last summer, right? Y'all saw that it actually was you were a bigger standout if you weren't part of it than if you were last summer. That was a very similar energy and environment to the one that Bernie was part of in the 60s during the original civil rights movement. Again, at a liberal arts college in a major city with a large black population, right? Right.
In a city that has a long history of people riding and marching everywhere.
Also that, like a very activist heavy city. I'm just saying, let's put it in the proper context because that shit was literally 60 years ago. And if y'all don't quit telling me what this fucking white man who
has no friends in government, that's why he can't never win nothing.
Never wanted to actually address race directly, would always pivot to class when you try to talk about race, did 60 years ago that probably half your liberal arts professors in college also did 60 years ago because that's what privileged white people who were liberal did at that time and still do today. We saw it last year. This would be like anybody who got arrested last year. If we're in like 2070, motherfuckers being like, they got arrested in summer 2020. Yeah, so did a gang of other people. Like, I'm just saying.
The only
can we please
example,
stop deifying Sanders for this shit?
The only example you need to bring up about Bernie Sanders and race and how out of touch he is about actual race issues that, racists deal with is just go find that story about what Simone Sanders said she dealt with as a part of his team. Mm-hmm. And then Bernie was like, oh, I had no idea she was dealing with shit. And it was like, no, fam. That's not what you've been preaching. But you don't even know what the highest ranking black people on your team is dealing with on a day-to-day basis. Right. And you like, really? I had no idea. You guys are treating her wrong.
Simone Sanders jumping from Bernie to Biden should be all you really need to know. To me. Yep. To me. I'm just saying.
Well,
I'm just saying. Simone Sanders, who is now in the White House, by the way, who has a job in the who is on White House staff.
Gotta know which team gonna win it in.
Just saying. Okay, so I don't want to get the roses in my fucking mentions. God, y'all are the ones I don't like. Him.
You go get the affiliate groups, the auxiliary groups,
the Bernie auxiliary groups. Jesus
the Bernie sweethearts.
Sanders sweethearts. You wanted to bring up Steve Harvey before we get out of here.
Oh, before we go, y'all. Mm-hmm. Steve Harvey's in the headlines because somebody did an interview with him. I don't know why they did an interview with this man about how he feels about Michael B. Jordan and Lori. And, to paraphrase what Steve said, y'all can read it. He was like, yeah, I like him. But, like I am with any of the bid my daughters bring home. Mm. I'm always like this close from hating them if they do them wrong. Where should I start first?
Just pick a place.
I'll take it from the man angle before I go to Steve Harvey. I hate when men do this.
Right.
And listen, we have talked about on this show about
you mentioned this.
Yes. Like I talked on the show about how I don't want kids, but still, and I will never be in a position to be like my daughter is bringing a dude home. But if I was, I would not be like Steve Harvey because I have dealt with dads like that for years. And one, I know how to win them over. It's never the mom. It's always the dad. And it's always like, fam, you win them over by being honest.
Yes.
Because I remember one dad was just like, oh.
You told the dad that he has your intentions and you told him that your intentions were to sleep at his door.
And he asked me, did I want to? And I was like, yes. I was like, why else would I be here? Like, why would that not be on my list of goals? Like, then I'm just wasting my time and my money right now if that's not in the plan, sir. But it's like, in those moments, you're just like, fam, why are you charging me up? You know the game. You used to be in this position. Either I'm better at this age than you were, or I'm worse than you and you mad at the mistakes I'm making. But don't super, I can hate you. Like, fam, you know how this goes. That's not your job. That's not in the rule book. Like, who made that up?
But actually, fathers do feel like it's their job. I don't know who made that up, but that's what, because fathers still think their job is to, like, listen, any parent's job is to protect their kids, and any parent is going to feel a way about people who hurt their kids. I understand that, because you also get to an age where you realize you can't tell your parents everything that you went through in a relationship, because when y'all make up, your parents still be mad. That shit. So I get it in theory, but I don't think it's as cute to say and boast about as like parents think. Like the whole Bad Boy scenario where you got Will playing the crazy uncle and coming out with the gun.
That's hilarious. Okay? That's hilarious.
In real life though, is it? Because if you're a dad, think about it the other way though. If you're a father and your son comes home and tells you that he went through that, you ready to go fuck somebody up.
No, you'd be like, oh, it happened to me, son. It's right past.
Okay. I would be like, if you don't put that gun down and bring your ass in this house, I'm just saying. I feel like it's silly.
You gotta have every man's had that Reggie moment. Couple uncles over there. You gotta go in the backyard.
Yeah. No, answering some hard questions is fine, because women do that. Women grill the fuck out of other women. Oh my God. Like, the tests we have to pass are different because they're so much more subtle. Y'all's are very overt. Ours are very subtle. It can be anything from what you wore to whether you offer to help in the kitchen. In some cases, it can be good.
Making a plate.
In some cases, it can be bad. You get side little quotes or some questions on some church etiquette or some Sunday school stuff or some Bible verse. Like, it could come in any way. It can come in so many different forms that you gotta be careful, because also with women, you never really know if they're sliding you a test question or just talking to you. That shit can be very subtle. So,
and the first question is always, who are your people?
Who are your people? Where you from, baby? Who are your people? See, I can get around that because my people is spread out. Now, I don't really meet folks anymore who know my people like that, so I can get around that question.
No, but also the part that Steve messed up, it was just like, Steve, you can't publicly say this.
But also, it's Michael B. Jordan. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
It's the sexiest man alive.
It's also like a mega A-list superstar. Like, he's a bigger star than your ass. What are you talking
like
about?
The power structure here.
Yeah, the dynamic is off, fam.
Yeah, fam.
Which may be why he felt he had to say it.
Like,
but
you War Machine, he Tony Stark.
Like, Michael B. Jordan is being nice to you and being respectful to you just out of decorum and protocol. He does, like, he could.
And then he used to hate that. I was like, did you not see Creed 1 and 2? Did you?
Right.
Did you? He threw Black Panther over a waterfall.
Right.
I don't think you want that smoke. The man had to go to therapy because he went that deep into the character Killmonger.
Right.
Like, I don't think you don't want that smoke. And also, fam, you'd have been married 47 times.
Yeah. Not to mention, Michael B. Jordan also know them streets from The Wire. Like, he got all them sides.
No.
He got all them sides.
Let's sound like Wallace didn't get popped early, okay? Wallace was a snitch. Let's not forget that Wallace was a snitch.
Wallace was still in them streets. He just happened to know how to save himself in the streets.
Listen, we memorialize Wallace in the way that I don't agree with. People, let's just come to this. Wallace had to go.
Wallace was trying to make a better life for himself.
He deserved it. Wallace knew who he was selling drugs for. He knew how they got down, and he knew why he had to run away. He also knew when he came back, this might not work out well for me. He just didn't think his boys is going to be the one to pull the trigger. He didn't think Bodie and Put was going to do it. He thought it was going to be somebody else, Savino, Weebay, but he knew that the shit was eventually going to come because he knew his ass was a snitch. You got to stop memorializing Wallace.
Wallace was trying to make a better life for himself. I'm just saying, Michael B. Jordan ain't the one to be sticking your chest out being like, well, you know, if he treats my daughter wrong, nigga, it's Michael B. Jordan. Now, I'm not saying he should be dogging your daughter out, but let's just be realistic here. That's all.
Also, if Michael B. Jordan did dog her out, there's another father that she could go to.
That nigga's in jail, though, however.
Huh?
But that nigga's in prison.
I know. So,
right.
If you were Lori, which father would you reach out to get things done?
Valid. Okay, that's valid. That's valid.
Who could make the proper phone calls to handle this situation? I'm gonna call my real daddy. Not Mr. Family Feud. Let's not do it. I was just like, Steve
has a lot to lose. Steve has a lot to lose.
I was just like, yeah, like, you know the game. Yeah. Also, like, that's not your role, player. Like, that's not your line.
I think my thing is actually the fact that, like, we talked about this, and not to dwell on this because we're going to wrap up in a minute, but what we talked about when we talked about Lori was the fact that Lori herself doesn't comment on this. So I think really what should have happened is that when somebody asked Steve, he should have gone, you know what? My daughter's relationships are her business.
Or ask
there you
Lori.
go. That's all. It's her business. She don't talk about, I'm not going to talk about.
She's a grown woman.
Grown-ass woman.
Grown woman. Have you seen her? Don't she look like a grown woman? Yes, she does. Yes, Lord. That's a grown-ass woman.
Lord.
Yes, it is. God is good all the time.
You know what? So, I got 2 shots. We want to put Trey Songz on the prayer list because he's out here putting police officers in headlocks, and I don't really know what's going on in his mind.
Tremaine Neverson has always been about that life. If you listen to reports,
he acted like he still had them cornrows from back in the day. From that We Gonna Make It,
Petersburg, Virginia.
And secondly, I want to give a shout out to whatever Black person realized that you should put lemon and pepper together, because I went to.
Are you talking about your tweet I just saw?
Yeah, I had to go to the pharmacy a minute ago to pick up a script before we started taping. And as I rounded the corner, I saw, and I haven't been over there in a while because I had been gone for a minute, and I had no occasion to go over there. And as I rounded the corner, I saw the big green lights of Wingstop, and I stopped and I said, "Oh my god!" And it's not open yet. Well,
coming soon.
Really excited. Yeah, it's got like everything's on, but it's got, you know, when they got the news, like the brown paper up in the window so you can't see what's going on inside.
If you put it up on Google Maps, it's not gonna say it's a restaurant.
It may not be there yet. So the closest Wingstop to me is it's in Harlem, but it's not in a convenient place for me to get to. Like, it's not in a way where I pass it coming home. Like, I have to make a deliberate effort to go to Wingstop. I don't ever just be like passing by Wingstop.
You want me to give you a secret?
And they don't deliver it to my house from there.
I'm gonna give you the secret.
What?
Since living in Chicago, since I've left Atlanta, I went through a trial run of how to get these wings to taste like they lemon pepper wings from Atlanta. And I figured it out. I'm sharing this with the world.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if you do this on Uber Eats, DoorDash, or if you call or do it online. 1, when you put in your wing order, always bone in. Okay, people.
Of course.
It's first step, always bone in.
Because if you're gonna get boneless wings, just get chicken fingers. What the fuck is wrong with you?
2, always click or type in or tell them to extra well done option.
Yes.
3, this is the most important. If there's an area where you can type this, or if you're on the phone, say, I would like extra, extra, extra lemon pepper seasoning on my wings. Because I've learned when you leave the South, they just do a light sprinkle.
Right.
And they don't dredge them like they supposed to in the South.
Right.
The entire wing is supposed to be covered, not a sprinkle here every bite. So yes, you have to put extra.
The Wingstop on 250, they got it cracking. Now, I live in Washington Heights, which is still an ethnic area, although it's not a black area. So it remains, I got to test it out because this is also not a lemon pepper wing area, right? This is still like get the wings from the Chinese spot area. So, we're going to have to see how they come with it. But I'm excited because I do not have satisfactory wing options for me in my immediate delivery range. And I've learned how to actually make wings at home. Good lemon pepper wings.
I just made some Sunday.
I just don't always feel like doing that shit.
Yeah, I just made some.
I can do them in the air fryer. I just don't always feel like doing that shit. So shout out to you, lemon pepper black person, because I know it was a black person, because of course it was a black person in whichever Atlanta strip club that shit popped off in. We appreciate you. We say your name without knowing your name. And we honor you every time we order lemon pepper wings. But I'm so ready for that wing.
You got to uplift the ancestors.
Yo, I'm so ready for that first order. Y'all, look, I'm going to tweet when it happens too. I'm excited.
Extra well done.
I'm excited.
Extra, extra, extra lemon pepper on me. Watch. You're going to call me.
I'm going to give them one. No, I always do the extra well, the fried hard. But I'm going to give them one shot to see how much they season it. Because you can't be sure. Can't be sure of black people up here, right? Like you can't really be sure, because I'll fuck around and the whole thing just be sodium in my mouth. But like not the good sodium, like it'll be too much. So I gotta see what my base level is first. All right, guys. We are gonna get out of here because we're at an hour plus, probably. I feel like there's something coming up this week that I met. Oh, the John David Washington Zendaya movie premieres soon on Netflix.
Are you speaking of my classmate?
Yes, you are. You're a Morehouse classmate. And there's some other good movies. There's some good black movies coming down the pipeline that are coming.
Oh yes, I will tell y'all this. American Skin. Mm-hmm. Look, I know how y'all feel about Nate Parker, but get over it for 2 hours and watch American Skin. It is immediately one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life, and one of the realest things of any depictions about race and the criminal justice system in a movie I have ever seen. Not a documentary, but a movie of telling a story of how Black people feel and having that raw, honest conversation. It is outstanding. Hats off to Nate Parker.
And the Fred Hampton joint is coming.
But I was getting there.
Okay.
I got an early look at Judas and the Black Messiah.
I heard it's outstanding. I heard it is fucking phenomenal. I heard it's phenomenal.
The Five Bloods. I was like, oh, Spike got this locked up. Delroy Lindo's winning everything. Then I saw Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. And I said, oh, no.
Chadwick got winning everything. Yeah.
I saw Judas and the Black Messiah. They are going to win every fucking thing they are going to be nominated for.
Right.
There is a scene in that movie that when Daniel Kaluuya gets memorialized, they're just going to play this scene of Fred Hampton giving this speech in this room. And I have never watched a movie scene where it made me sit up in every hair on my body, every goosebump. And I was like, oh, fuck. All right, you know how you felt in that 2-minute monologue that Chadwick Boseman does in Ma Rainey?
Yeah.
About God?
Yeah.
It made that look like some shit a nigga on the corner did.
Okay.
Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield and Dominique Fishback. Yo, I don't want to put notes, but like when y'all see this movie, y'all gonna be like,
No, I saw that.
God
Somebody was
damn.
like, I can't stop thinking about it. Yeah.
Yes. That movie is so good. Right after it, in the same package, was The Little Things with Denzel, Rami Malek, and Joker. What's his name? White
Jared
dude.
Curl. Oh, Joker.
Jared Leto.
You said
Jared
Joker?
Leto.
Jared?
He played
Okay.
in Suicide Squad.
Joaquin? Oh, okay, no.
Jared Leto.
Oh, Jared Leto. Okay.
The Little Things is a really good movie. The Little Things also has a scene where it's all three of them acting. I watched it immediately after Judas and the Black Messiah. And I was like, this shit whack. Then I had to remember, no, it's
who
not
you were
whack.
watching.
Watched after
right.
arguably one of the greatest movies I've ever seen in my life. And I was just like, my bad, Denzel. It went whack. It was like going to see, it was like that tour when Bobby Brown went on right before Albie Shore. And you was just like, I don't even want to be on my own no more, girl. I just want to be by my prerogative.
You had the nerve
That's
to
what
talk,
it was.
You had the nerve to talk about me and auxiliary groups. That was really rude. We're gonna wrap it up on that. We're gonna wrap
that happened.
We're gonna wrap it up on that note. On that note, now that Carron and I have most officially insulted Black institutions,
it didn't meaner than Salt N Pepa was to Martin Lawrence in that movie.
That's so bad. Oh, Martin, that was oof.
Listen,
I'm gonna light a candle for you, Martin. You ain't deserve that. Martin,
give them your money.
Martin,
give Ryan Coogler his money.
Martin, you had periods of your life where you wasn't shit, but you ain't deserve that. The other thing I do want to point out in the Salt N Pepa movie is that high top fades ain't never been that dense, that perfectly geometrically shaped, or that shiny. They do not look like solid masses of hair. And what people keep getting wrong,
look like black, uncooked ramen noodles stacked on top of each other.
And what people keep getting wrong about high top fades, even in their renaissance that they had a little while ago, is that it's still a fade. There is a taper. There's a taper on the sides. There's a taper in the back. Motherfuckers just bowl. Yeah, they just bowl cut it. You be looking like you got a big ass cylinder on your head. That's not it. It's still a fade.
The person that successfully bowl cut it was Kid. He was the only one.
He didn't even do it. I pulled up pictures of Kid. Kid had a fade. It was a fade. It was a light taper, but it was a taper.
Real light. But listen, as someone who used to have a cold fade, my thing was right.
It's supposed to be a fade. Matter of fact, one woman, I was talking about it, and one woman was like, how about this fade I just did? And I was like, you got the hair shape right, but sis, it's a fade where you got to taper it off. That keeps it from looking so drastic. It keeps it from looking like it keeps it from looking like somebody just sat the shit on top. It's not supposed to look like somebody just sat the shit on top of your head. That's not.
It's not supposed to look like Steve Harvey's hairpiece that he had for all the years.
No, it is not. So, and we have references. You can find the picture of Big Daddy Kane getting his hair cut. You can find pictures of Kid. There are pictures to look at for reference. And I know you always see them from the front, but if you look, you can see the blend, you can see the taper, you can see it, you can see that they changed them blades as they got them.
Bobby's Gumby.
Yeah, it's
fantastic
a fade.
Blend.
High top fade. It's a fade. Okay, that's it. Okay, we done for real. All right, guys, we recognize that you could be listening to or watching. You should be watching, not listening anything right now. We do not take it for granted that you are with us. And we will see y'all next week. And fuck Van Jones. We ain't forget. We still on it. Ain't shit changed.
Stop giving that white man your money.
That too. Later.